Welcome to Pinnacle Performance Company's Fishbowl Friday with Pinnacle co-founder and COO G. Riley Mills and master instructor and editorial director Brad Lawrence. In an exclusive edition of Fishbowl Friday featuring G. Riley Mills' new book, Synergy and Sparks.
Let's do the next pillar.
Yeah.
Pillar number 3 is influence.
Yeah.
Another word
Yeah.
that gets used a lot, tossed around. There's been a lot of research and science in the past 10, 15 years on this, especially a lot of it revolving around selling and sales.
Yeah.
We talk about the NYU study in our workshops a lot, the Layla Devaji study. What separates influence, true influence, from pressure or persuasion? I guess pressure and persuasion are two types of influence, or they're on the spectrum. But what separates influence from persuasion or pressure? And if I'm looking to become more influential, how do I generate that? How do I become that?
Yeah. So we all spend a lot of our day trying to influence other people, right? Whether it's our kids, our friends, our spouse. Hey, I want to see this movie. You want to see that movie? I don't want to see your movie. I'm going to try to influence you. Let's pick my movie. Our clients, our team members, our bosses, our senior leadership. So we're influencing. So first off, I think understanding your audience, going back to the first step in the Pinnacle method, which is analyze your audience. Who am I talking to? What do I want them to do? And what's in the way of me making that happen? So I think you have to start there by understanding your audience, clearly laying out the benefit to them, why you're asking them to do this, why you're requiring to do this or consider this. I think goes to influence. Authenticity. I think people have what we call in our training reactants. If they can feel you're inauthentic, you're taking advantage of them, you're trying to get over on them, you're not being truthful, walls go up, and it's just that immediate resistance that I do not trust this person. They do not seem authentic. They're not going to influence me. So we've got to break through as communicators, as leaders, that wall of resistance, of distrust that just we're all innately, we just have in us. And so when you're crafting your message, I laid this out in the book, there's two things that you want to focus on. Is your message engaging to them? So are they sitting up and listening, and is the narrative of it interesting and surprising and relevant to them? And then also, is it memorable? Are they going to take away what you want them to take away? And if your message has both of those things, it's not only relevant, but it's also memorable. That's going to help you be able to influence them, especially if it's authentic in the delivery.
Yeah, I think the way I get asked about influence a lot, it's almost like influence is not mind control.
No, no.
You can't make somebody do. I mean, I guess you could, but we don't want to make somebody do something. There's another person that's a part of the equation all the time. That's why the audience analysis bit is so important, because you should be customizing what you're doing to that individual or to that team or whomever it is. There's no 100% way to get people to change their minds, their hearts, their behavior. That's just not a part of it. You talked about value. You talked about holding attention. What role does emotion play in influence? Because I think when people think about, when people think about doing what you just said, it's about I'm going to make an argument. I'm going to present evidence. That's reason, right? Logic. That's how I'm going to change people or influence people through argument. But what role does emotion play in it?
I'm glad you brought up emotion, because the example I always use, and I use it in the book, is pretend there are two political candidates in some unnamed country. Just any country. It can be any country in the world, two unnamed candidates. And one says, hey, during this campaign, to their campaign team, they say, I want everything that we do in this campaign to appeal to the logic of our audience. I want every message to just focus on logical information for our audience. Okay, that's the first candidate. Second candidate gets their team together and they say, all right, team, I want everything we do to be emotional. I want it to appeal to the emotions of the voters out there, who almost every time wins. And it could be fear, it could be hope, it could be anger, grievance, it could be inspiration. But whatever the stronger emotional connection is, that seems to be the most influential candidate. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, how often do you see political candidates nowadays go into the specifics of policy.
Right.
The details don't matter,
No.
right? They're usually banners
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
That's as deep as you go. Everything's
Yeah.
very shallow, and probably for the reason
Yeah.
that you just
And I don't
said.
know
Yeah.
if you remember, but 2010 is when we wrote the first book, The Pin Drop Principle. And in that book, we write about how, this was 2010, so think of how long ago that was. We write about, in the old days of U.S. elections, when people running for election, usually the person who won was, you answered the question, who would you rather have a beer with?
That's right. Yeah.
Right? That was in the old days. Who would you rather sit across the bar from and have a drink with? And in that book in 2010, we said it's not going to be that in the future. It's going to be someday, who's the best reality TV star? Who's the one who across all
prophetic.
mediums,
Prophetic.
who's the one across all mediums is going to keep you engaged and interested and sparking surprise? And that was in 2010. We threw that idea out there. And
But even the beer question is emotional in some aspect, right? Like, if
yeah, for sure.
I
It
don't
goes to
wanna-
authenticity.
I don't want to
mentioned.
go out for a beer
Yeah.
with somebody who's just going to
Who's a liar or who's
is going to talk about logical
Yeah,
things. And like,
exactly.
we're going out for we're going to have fun. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. Thank you. That's influence. That's pillar number 3.